Very welcome here to MW Hiremoor Park for this game, this Junior A final between Park Ratheniska and Portlaoise here in MW Hiremoor Park. Of course, this year's championship, as every other year, has been sponsored by Laois Shopping Centre. Delighted to be joined tonight by Fergal Byrne. Fergal, very welcome. Needs no introduction. First of all, Fergal, both teams on the field warming up, and it won't be long before the throw-in. Much anticipated game. Let's start with Park Ratheniska, and I suppose I'm going to start with what I'm going to say is they're a country team. This is their first team, and you know all about what it's like being, coming up, trying to get up through ranks, and that struggle has been like. It's 15 years since Ratheniska last won this. They spent 8 years in intermediate, and then they dropped down. They've been in numerous finals. One final in 16 semi-finals, been beaten. You can imagine the pressures on them, I presume, at this stage.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, Pat. There's massive pressure here tonight on Park Ratheniska, and for all the reasons that you've pointed out there. I know from coming from a small rural club myself how difficult it is when you drop back the ranks. If you don't come straight back up the next year, you could end up down there for a few years. And I suppose if we even look at the intermediate championship at the moment, with Timahoe being back down there for a few years now, Mount Mellick as well, it is difficult, to come back up. But I think looking at the teams out there tonight and looking at Park Ratheniska and looking at their backroom team as well, Pat, I always kind of look to the backroom team and see who's leading the squad. And Kieran Kelly has a massive amount of experience there. Very, very, very well regarded manager in his own right, and he has a good backroom team with him. So that will add to the spice of it.
The previous manager, the last 106, Brendan Delaney, the Pulper Delaney as he's known, for some strange reason, but anyway, and Pat Brennan is there as well. He was the selector that 06, and Tomas Moore's with them. He's normally a commentator here with us this year. Brought a tremendous amount out there to Ratheniska, but we can't, without Ratheniska, we can't go away from the Delaney brothers, the twins. What they're going to offer, and then a lot of young players they have. Richie Hitchcock, young Finkelton lad, all under 20s, fellas from Laois.
Yeah, Pat, they have a good backbone and a good structure to the team, but they're going to need it tonight. I'm looking at that Portlaoise team out there as well tonight, Pat, and even though it's Portlaoise's third team, at the end of the day, they're a town team with a good pick. There's lads coming back there that have played a bit of senior football, played intermediate football. 3 lads coming up from minor last year as well. They have plenty of strength in depth there as well.
Huge experience there when you look at them. Scott Lawless, he's only played senior 2 years ago. You Jack Fennell, you have all the lads there. There's a huge amount. Liam McGovern is in there in the subs. Jojo Salmon, Rusty Delaney. All these fellas can come in if need be. They have depth in their panel.
And I think, Pat, you've hit the nail on the head. Strength and depth when it comes to championship games is what's key. And town teams normally tend to have that. They have a lot of resource, they have a lot of players. When you're a rural team, you have your 15, you're out to 20, you're out to 25. Everybody's putting their shoulder to the wheel to get the team across the line. But the strength and depth is just there with Portlaoise. But tonight, I think obviously with a finalist there to be won, the rural team against the town team is always difficult. But I think Park are perfectly poised to.
You talked there about backroom team, and I just have to, especially a good friend, a massive friend of Park Ratheniska, as he'd say himself, he knows all these lads since they were chaps, and that's Mick Comer. Mick Comer is on the programme here tonight. Normally the physio for Mick is undergoing his own challenge, as he'll say himself, but he's going to come through it. And Mick sent the boys a lovely message there. He's up in Tala there, he would love to be here tonight. And Mick, we send you all the best and best of luck to you, and we no doubt you'll be back here soon enough rubbing all these lads. We're going to break for the national anthem, and we'll come back to you with the teams as they're going to line out for tonight's match.
Stuff, Pat.
There's no changes to the team this team. I'm going to quickly call them out. Park Ratheniska we're going to start with. In goal, Jamie Downey, the full back line. Benny Dowling, Mark Delaney, the captain, and Benny Green. The half back line, Richie Hitchcock, Colin Brennan, and Sean Tierney. Midfield, Brian Fingleton and Podge Dunn. Half forward line, Brian Flanagan, Kieran Delaney, and Mark Delaney. Mark G, of course, not Kieran's brother. James Connolly is half forward, corner forward. Brian Dunn, full forward. And DJ O'Connell is the last named team on the Ratheniska team. Portlaoise, Richard Downey is in goals. Full back line, Brian Nocton, Aidan McGovern, and Gavin Skean. Gary Whelan, Brian Steele, and Oisin Fitzpatrick make up the half back line. Midfield, Craig Scully and Chris Higgins. Half forward, Chris Mulhall, Cathal Duggan and Martin Staunton. And the full forward line, Scott Lawless, Andy Downan and Cormac Dunn, as Desi Cooney gets ready to throw in the ball here. On the sideline is Brendan Hickey, and the far line there is Brendan McCann. And away we go with the match on the way, and breaks down, and first to it is Chris Higgins. Higgins dropped the ball, he got down, went back to pick it up. Desi Cooney said he was fouled, and Portlaoise will settle it down as Scott Lawless comes out. They're going to really have to watch Scott tonight. Fergal, huge man, going to be a massive experience there.
He's a possible match winner for Portlaoise tonight, Pat, if he gets on form.
Pops it back to Portlaoise. There's a late foul on Cormac Dunn, was there, comes off the post. They were calling it and the referee brought it back. That looked to be clumsy challenge there, Fergal, a bad one to be given away, maybe a bit of nerves at that stage.
It was a bit rash in front of the goal, Pat, and actually as we look at it here with Portlaoise playing into the Abbelikes end here with a reasonable breeze behind them, Pat, it looks like from the flags they're blowing pretty much directly down the field here, and Martin Staunton going to take this free here, left-footed from the right side, 21 metres out or 20 metres out, Pat. You'd imagine that if he could stick this one over, it'd probably give him good confidence for the rest of the game. It's a nice free for a free taker to get. First one out of the bag today.
Martin, member of Garda Síochána, but he a very potentially great player with Portlaoise a good few years ago, still is and still playing with them, but takes that with ease and over the bar he goes. So that's the first score of the game for Portlaoise.
He didn't try to drill it, Pat. He just stroked it over the bar with the breeze behind him, and the margin for error dropped massively when he did that. So
Jamie Downey was going to kick out, but that didn't work out from his. Craig Scully goes to the crowds, get that but broken down there to Mark G. Delaney was fouled. Desi not letting Indy go here, being really strict, and out comes Kieran Delaney. Delaney looking, he's going to go, he gets by, he puts in the ball, but that's gone the wrong side of Brian Dunn. Picked up there by Portlaoise, and that's Cricky Mulhall back there. Chris, he's been on a good few balls so far tonight there now, and he pops it outside here to Cathal Duggan. A lot of these lads played hurling last week. They were beaten in their final and won't want that to repeat again. The ball goes by them all. It went by Cormac Dunn as well for Portlaoise. That was the intended pass out, harmlessly out over the line. You can see there, I suppose, when we look at it, it looks like Portlaoise's or Park Ratheniska's tactic is kind of stack up in the middle, Fergal, but I think Jamie was just a little bit slow with the last one. We'll watch it again here now as they get ready for the kick out. They're stacking up and they'll spread to the wings, I think.
They're playing against a breeze too, so they want to try and create the space for the goalkeeper just to put the ball into, as they've done this time.
And Richie
it's picked up. Richie picked up a very good
Richie
ball there.
Had a great experience from playing with Laois under 20s and that. A great player, great potential being on IT Carlow, and I see he's in the physiotherapy game now at the moment. So again, back to Podge Dunn. Dunn looking up for it, slow, they're getting ready to go. Richie trying to get going. Man coming from behind there was Benny Dowling. Benny on to Podge Dunn. Podge looks up, loses control. Craig Scully onto him, and they're coming. There's Benny Dowling coming to him now, trying to spray it out. Here it goes. Sean Tierney looking up, first time ball inside there, that's cut by Kieran Delaney. He's a talisman for them. Got 2-6 the last day, and he gets the thing, and that gets the crowd going there. And that's your country team, your country crowd giving a good roar there, Fergal.
I was just about to say, Pat, I was surprised he didn't take the inside mark. But he had the confidence in himself, backed himself to turn and kick it over the bar, and he stroked it over very nicely into the breeze there, Pat. But no better man than Kieran Delaney.
Richie Downey out with the left boot, he'll kicker, goalkeeper. You probably don't see too many of them, Fergal. And that's we see there 21 coming in for Portlaoise. That's where Brian McCormick is down there.
Captain, actually, is he not?
So look, we were told there was no changes, but there is. Anyway, we'll catch up with it as we go along. James Connolly, great dispossession there. On now to Brian Fingleton. Fingleton, the under-20 leash panel at the moment there. You'll be keeping a close eye on him, Fergal, tonight as he goes inside to Richie Hitchcock. Hitchcock outside to Kieran Delaney. Delaney, as I said, got 2-6 the last day against Ballyroan Abbey in a tight semi-final. Portlaoise won their semi-final as well and missed some goal chances, I think, but Podge Dunn is on. He thought about kicking it, his way was blocked. He's going to recycle it. As Portlaoise man, there's an injury there. Someone has pulled a hamstring there fairly quick and he's out of the race. Whoever it is, we'll pick him up in a minute. That goes aside to James Connolly. Connolly outside to Sean Tierney. Tierney across to Brian Dunn. He won't come in time for Brian Dunn, just goes a little bit to the right and wide, as that's unfortunate for Portlaoise man here going down. It looks like Brian Seal.
Looks like Brian Seal, Pat.
Yeah,
it is, and, I think.
He has, as Brian played really well last week in the hurling final. As I said, unfortunately came out on the wrong side of it, but these lads have played a lot of stuff between hurling and football and probably not getting to train enough time. This is probably what's telling the tale for
when it comes to matches, Pat. You can do all the training you like on your own, but when you play high intensity championship matches, they take their toll as the ball is kicked out here for Portlaoise. Won by Aidan McGovern, I think. Aidan
McGovern, another good player. His brother Liam is on the panel there on the subs bench, and he'll be dangerous if he pops in as well, as Portlaoise try and get it moving. Carl Duggan aside, but well intercepted by Richie Hitchcock. He's playing kind of a roving roller back there. He's going to pick up wherever it's going. Podgy Dunn outside to Tierney. Sean Tierney now. Park Ratheniska starting to get a bit lively now. Delaney is obviously in front of him. Kieran, and that's who his target man is. Kieran is going to try and get started McCormack, and he'll cuteness. He'll go and he takes on a shot. A little bit maybe ambitious, I suppose, at this stage, but not a score for.
You would have imagined that Kieran would have taken the option to recycle that ball, Pat, instead of going for the score from where he was. I know his confidence was probably up from the previous attack and getting the previous score, but you want your inside forwards shooting from the high percentage area, and that where he took it from was not a high percentage area, Pat. So John
Delaney makes its way. Rusty, as he's known as, it comes into the field, and he came on the last set for Skeen, Gavin Skeen, but Skeen, he seems to be switching places with him, and John has gone into the cornerback position there, where Brian Seal came out. Nocton is coming over here. Yes, so now Craig Scully on the ball, big strong man, he's on the ball. Prolific basketball player, but as Portlaoise try to go forward, it's Scott Lawless coming out for it. Lawless demanding it. Turns. Will he take on the shot from out long range, but it goes to the left and wide. But that's the danger with Scott Lawless. Give him a bit of space and he'll punish it.
Yeah, I think on that occasion, Paddy's just too far out from goal. I think you want Scott Lawless inside the D area, to be honest with you, and he'll get them all day. I think the only reason it didn't go over the bar was he was forcing the shot a little bit from nearly 35-40 metres out.
Jamie Downey's looking where the options. A few lads run left and right. Richie Hitchcock's gone this way. There's still a bit of a delay from Jamie. I'm sure that's not suiting the runners Fergal, I'd say, as they make their runs. It drops, but Scully picked it up. Craig Scully pops out here to Martin Staunton all his own. Inside it goes to Cormac Dunn. Dunn goes back into the middle, pops it across. Andrew Downing came to him, but Cathal Duggan caught that ball and quickly just pulled on it. Again, a bit rushed there, Fergal. You would expect him, if you were the manager, you'd want to calm down a bit. Yeah.
Composure, Pat, would be the word that you'd be using there. From if you were the Portlaoise manager at this point in time, they're getting plenty of possession. They're playing with a strong breeze, but they're having pot shots from 35-40 metres, Pat. They'll have to be a little bit more patient. But I think fair play to Park Ratheniska. They're putting the pressure on. They're forcing the kick. There's not too many options for Portlaoise in there, so they will have to look at recycling the ball if they want to get a little bit more out of the attacks.
So Jamie Downey looks to find a man. He's gone. Podgy Dunn is going to be underneath it, but it's going to fall to Chris Higgins. Higgins got that one over his back as Portlaoise come again on the attack. Cathal Duggan, it looks like it has it. Podgy Dunn is following him. They're playing, two of them marking each other, trying to get the ball off each other, but it goes inside, and that's Oisin Fitzpatrick. Oisin turns inside, over carries to the referee, and Ratheniska are delighted with that. Their pressure told that as Podgy Dunn gets it again. Slowing it up a bit, but moving across here to Mark Delaney, brother Kieran's. He won't mind coming up the field either if needed. Goes back to Podge Dunn. Podge soloing in front of lads, putting it back a bit laborious, I suppose, in their play, but they don't mind. As Colin Brennan, one of the other lasting players from that old 16. Him and Delaney, they were on that the last time they won this. Podge puts it forward. Kieran Delaney in under, does it pop by him? No, he stays going. He's bending down. Brian Brian McCormack trying to get near him, but he's not. Kieran using his pace and using his intelligence more so than anything. And outside to young Connolly, is it? Here goes Brian Fingleton now going to the left, comes back out, not confident yet to go with it, and Sean Tierney has it. They'll keep switching. Podge breaks through 1-2 players. He's looking again, back out it comes to Sean Tierney. They're patient enough, Ratheniska, in their build up. They're just not rushing it, I suppose. That'll be Kieran Kelly there, I'm sure, having that as they find Kieran Delaney.
Portlaoise are getting plenty of men behind the ball there too, Pat. There's only 2 men in the other half of the field, but Park have to be patient as they are, as Richie Hitchcock takes the ball forward here.
Yeah. So Ratheniska out to Kieran Delaney. He stood on the line, waited. He knew might pop out him. Will he have a go at it? Looks like he's dropped his shot. But Richie Downey is that well under control there. That's a wasted chance again from Park Ratheniska as Portlaoise try and build from the back there. Dangerous play they're going. Not very consistent as it goes out. And the Ratheniska will fight, but it unfortunately went off Brian Flanagan's legs there. He got in a good shoulder fight for it. So Portlaoise will be happy to get a line ball. Cathal Duggan under it. Gets on, heading up the sideline here, being chased, being well harried there by Mark G. Mark G makes him turn back, but it comes back here to Portlaoise man, and that was Cathal Duggan. Now to Craig Scully. Scully puts across to Scott Lawless. 1, 2, 3 Ratheniska man. He goes to the ground. Desi Cooney blew the whistle. Scott won there free, I'm sure. Fergal is the best way to say that.
Yeah, I think it was maybe rather soft, I would say, Pat. Park Ratheniska had him well covered there. There were no need to foul him if there was a foul in it, to be honest with you. And they had him surrounded by 3 men there, so it seemed a little soft, but it's a free given by the referee, and that's it.
That's it, exactly.
Martin Staunton again, a little bit further out this time, but obviously on the right side for him as a left footer, and he stroked the first one over quite nicely, Pat. So.
And he's well in range with this one as well, Fergal. You're dead right, yeah. And that's look, it's if you thought Park Ratheniska were being indisciplined, you would give out about it. But maybe on that occasion we thought they weren't. But look, unfortunately they're down a point as a result of that. So Portlaoise, 11 minutes gone, low scoring game. Still trying to find their feet, Fergal. 2 points for Portlaoise, a point for Park Ratheniska.
Yeah, I think Park Ratheniska will be happy enough, Pat, after 12 minutes of play nearly against a pretty strong breeze to be well in this game. 2 points to 1.
Benny Green gets it on the way out to Podge Dunn. Podge Dunn turns by Craig Scully. Again, Scully was phenomenal the other day in the hurling, but it might be telling as Mark Delaney puts it across the side. And who does he pick out? Only Kieran. And Kieran turns it. He doesn't even have to look at the goals as he turns, and that's an excellent score, and that's what we're talking about, Fergal, with those 2 men.
Yeah, Mark Delaney was a long way from his own goal, Pat, when he picked up that ball and delivered an absolutely fantastic crossfield pass to his brother on the edge of the D. But Pat, what was the difference that time between the shot Kieran Delaney took and the last one? He was in the scoring zone, he was within the D, and he slotted it over the bar.
Podge Dunn caught that ball but overkicked it, unfortunately, but the Portlaoise man just fouled as Mark G went in on that. The ball had gone over his head. Mark G was running for it, and maybe just Aidan McGovern was a little bit. He's just have fouled him, but anyway, there we see it there.
Have a look at it again, Pat. Yeah.
So Podge Dunn caught it cleanly,
good catch,
but the foot pass was a bit overpass. Maybe a fist pass was probably more on there. But anyway, so look,
I think in it, both players were committed to going for the ball. In fairness to Aidan McGovern, he was wholehearted for it. Probably now maybe a little unlucky to have given away a free there as well. Because
so maybe the one previously has cancelled each other out. At this stage, maybe we'll say
they tend to, Pat. They tend to be honest.
So Kieran Delaney, I'd say, maybe he's going to go short, and probably knew he had this. Young Connolly has it, pops across the Podge Dunn. What'll he do? He takes the kick, strokes it. Richie Downey is well underneath. He challenges either. You won't get that around Richie to Andy in fairness. A big strong man there, well able to take care of himself for that goal. Portlaoise get it underway. Scully underneath now. Craig Scully. What can he do? Immediately, Andrew Downing goes for it. He claims it. He's inside. He did the mark, but he plays along. Cathal Duggan has now the orange boots inside. It goes. That's a bit dangerous ball at Portlaoise, but they have it still. Andrew Dowling. Scott Lawless came off his hands, and luckily for Ratheniska, they're able to clear. Mark Delaney clears the lines, and that looks like Colin Brennan is underneath it now. Ratheniska looking to see who the option are, but he'll have to go back, and he goes back to Sean Tierney. Tierney switches play across the other side of the field. Ratheniska to Fingleton have it, and they stem that storm, Fergal.
Yeah, Pat, Park Ratheniska are very well set up at the back, to be honest with you. And Scott Laois is not going to get a whole lot of room in there tonight as Park take the ball up the field and inside to Kieran Delaney again.
Mark G to Kieran Delaney. Kieran being trying to be marked by Brian McCormick, but Kieran is really having the better of that tussle at the moment. It pops up though, but Brian Dunn tried to flick it up, didn't go and get it, and it's gone from him. And Ratheniska can lead more out of that man, I think, by the end of the thing as Cathal Duggan comes, play on says Desi Cooney, and they do. Chris Mulhall, Cricky, the prolific soccer player, but he's backed by Sean Tierney. Out free says Desi Cooney. He did go in probably when he was down too low to the ground there, and that's a concession. Look, it's probably the best place to give away a free if you're going to give away one further.
Yeah, Scott Lawless looks to be on this one. You'd imagine though that Martin Staunton, if they're going to go for it, but they're not, they're going to take it short. And Cathal Duggan is on the ball again, Pat, and I've been impressed so far with Cathal Duggan's contribution to this game.
Absolutely,
he's very lively.
Yeah, look. Son of Cyril, you know what I mean, you wouldn't have not known his sporting blood running through those veins, and Scully gets across, he's going to the middle, he's going to take on the shot, is he? And that's a very good score. Craig has been quietish enough so far, but that's all you need him to do is pop up when you need him.
Yeah, well, he judged his run really well there, Pat. The ball was won very well around the middle. Scott Lawless took the right decision to take the free short. They worked the good ball into the scoring zone, and in fairness to Craig Scully, he stuck it over the bar nicely with it. Puts Portlaoise 3 points to 2 up.
Benny Green got the kick out, got himself into danger, gets himself out of danger. Well done to Benny Green, and pops across to Brian Flanagan, who moves away up the wing. 2 men chasing him. One of those is Cathal Duggan, judged to have fouled, and he'll go back. Desi Cooney telling him move back a bit. Podge Dunn is in front of him. Richie Hitchcock has gone up a bit farther up the field as Craig Scully or Chris Higgins comes to mark him, and they go short to Podge Dunn. Dunn puts it on across again. Let's go on to Mark G. Delaney, trying to get around his man there, trying to get around young Nocton there. He does, he twists behind him. Scully's behind him, over carrying his Cotfer, and as he breaks for a water break, Desi Cooney. Just Fergal, nervous play, I suppose. 2 teams are in the county final, nervous, no real settled pattern to it yet at all.
There isn't, Pat, and there's been mistakes on both sides, and maybe a little bit of decision making has been a bit rushed from time to time. But in fairness, the standard is reasonable out there tonight, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and no team getting too far ahead. 3 points to 2, and I suppose at this stage, Portlaoise have 1 from play and 2 points from 2 frees from Martin Staunton, which were well taken. And I suppose the only thing that might worry Park Ratheniska a little bit, but maybe this is their game plan. Their out-and-out scorer seems to be Kieran Delaney. I think he got 2-6 the last day, Pat, and tonight he has 1 from play and 1 from a free. So he is their talisman. And Portlaoise, if they're going to have a chance of winning this game, they'll have to get the shackles on Kieran Delaney on the inside line. And so far, in fairness, Brian McCormick is doing his best, but Kieran Delaney is getting good ball in there. No better ball than the ball his own brother gave him for his last score.
Absolutely, yeah. So as see Portlaoise here gathering their drops of water, they're heading straight back out, anxious to get going. So are Ratheniska. Kieran Kelly be pleased enough, I suppose, as you said earlier, so far that they're just settling into it with the little breeze there that's still there.
Yeah,
in Portlaoise's favour.
Yeah, for sure. Kieran Delaney or Kieran Kelly will be happy to be turning into the second quarter here, as we call it now. Just a point down, and Pat, if we look at Portlaoise as well, I've been impressed with Richie Downey's game so far as well. That last ball that went into him there, tricky ball underneath the crossbar with a Park Ratheniska man on his in his face. He done really, really well, and his kickouts thus far have been quite good too.
So McCormick straight down to Cathal Duggan. And familiar boots are weird. It's great for commentators as you to be able to spot them. But anyway, Portlaoise on the attack, and they quickly get moving after break. Inside Scott Lawless. Lawless tries to turn outside. Benny Dowling on him. Scott Lawless turns, but it's gone to the right and wide. Look, I suppose as well for Scott, he was out the whole last year with an injury. The man coming back to recuperate. They only had the semi-final so far to get back into it, so he'd certainly be off, but he's enthusiastic. We can hear from up here directing the lads as Richie Hitchcock gets that kick out from Jamie Dowling, claims the mark and stands for it, and goes across to Colin Brennan with Tierney behind Brian Fingland, moving it across, tries to go inside here to DJ O'Connell, but he will he get into that second time? He doesn't know. He looks like he's fouled. He's pulled up for a foul, and he fouled Oisin Fitzpatrick, so Portlaoise not wasting any time now, realising maybe that bit of breeze is with them. They need to take full advantage of it. They're trying to move it forward as Fitzpatrick comes up again. His side to Scully. Scully is gone, and they're starting to move now. Portlaoise fellas getting use up. Scott coming out to claim it, but Cormac Dunn going himself. Back it comes to Fitzpatrick. Dangerous ball inside. Portlaoise now trying to cut up as Ratheniska retreat. Out it goes here to Cricky Mulhall. Cricky trying to go with it, Tierney on him. Mahal trying to get space to kick it. He goes to three lads, gets around him. Dummy solo, does a solo. Still going with the ball, dangerous. Goes to the ground. The referee is blown for a whistle. But
free in, Pat, I think.
Free in, again, Ratheniska looked bewildered, I think, at Desi Cooney as to that decision. But anyway, he's awarded a 14-yard free, and that's, I think, about right.
I think so, Pat. I mean, it was to be honest, in Park Ratheniska's favour, it was a good free to give away. It was just outside the large parallelogram, and slightly later missed time tackle, and it could have been a penalty. But I think the only thing I would say about that one is that Chris Mulhall got inside easy enough, and there was three Park Ratheniska players there. They'll be disappointed with their defence there. To give away a free in that situation, as Martin Staunton again. He's a sweet left foot, Pat, and he strokes that one nicely over the blue spot on the bar.
Absolutely great player, and they just can't do it. That was the telling point of that. Three Ratheniska men, Cricky Mulhall went by, and they should have dealt with that earlier instead of. So I'd say Brendan Delaney of anyone else will be not happy with that. So Jamie trying to get underway again now. Out goes the middle. Who'll be underneath it? Well, Scully looks to be getting it, but breaks, and he caught it over everyone. Over Podge Dunn. That's what he's doing. That's what he's there for. And now it breaks to Cormac Dunn. Dunn across to Duggan, is it? That's coming to Chris Mulhall again. He's on a lot of ball. This looks like Oisin Fitzpatrick coming up back to Mulhall. Mulhall again. 2 or 3 men around him. He dancing around, and back to Duggan. They're not panicking as Craig Scully now looks. What are the options? Andrew Dowling coming outside. There's looks like Nocton gone here free, but Andrew Dowling decides to take on the kick himself, but he's gone to the left and wide. Disappointed with himself, and that's a chance missed for them, obviously.
It definitely is, Pat. But again, Park Ratheniska numbers back there. They are set up reasonably defensively. And you'd have to expect that playing against the breeze. And in the first half of a county final, you don't want to let the team you're playing get away from you. Portlaoise are 4 points to 2 up. 20 minutes gone. I still think Kieran Kelly will be happy enough if they can win a little bit more possession around the middle of the field, Pat, because when the ball goes long from Jamie Downey's kick out, they seem to lose it,
So Cormac Dunn got the mark, and Benny Green trying to tackle him, but Dunn gets it away across the free call. Duggan, who shouldn't be free, I suppose, from Ratheniska point of view, decides to turn around, kick in aimlessly. Jamie Downey went off him. He was going to let it go out, and that's as a goalkeeper, that's just something you hate to see happen. I know what his intention was, but it didn't work out for him, unfortunately.
Well, his intention was to let the ball go out, Pat, but in fairness, it would have been better for him to catch the ball and stay up and attack. The last 2 kickouts they've lost in a row there, because he's been trying to kick the ball long. Like when he keeps the ball 25-30 metres out in space, Parker are winning those kickouts. But when it's going long to the middle, particularly with Craig Scully and Chris Higgins around the middle, 2 big men there, particularly Scully, the last one was on top of him. He would have been far better advised to catch the ball and set up the attack when you have someone like Mark Delaney in front of you that can take the ball up the field.
Cricky goes short with it out to Dowling. Dowling across to Scott Lawless, but it dropped short into the thing. But that looked like a training ground move for a while there until the finished product. As Ratheniska now in the corner, Mark G trying to back as Benny Green gets out to Podge Delaney. Mark G. Delaney's on it there. Turns, goes aside. Craig Scully back inside the middle there. Being fouled. Des Cooney says play away. He kicked the ball. Rusty Delaney comes across to it and back for the advantage was not accruing, so he brought it back. And I suppose we're probably playing under last year's rules. I suppose Fergal, they're changing every year, but we'll have to go with last year's one, which meant that they could play on an advantage or bring it back if it didn't accrue after 5 seconds.
Very difficult for players in the same season to be playing under 2 sets of rules, Pat, and it's equally as difficult for the referees. And I think Desi Cooney is doing a good job here so far.
Long, and it was brother Brian inside, but young Conley had broke him, but the Gavin Skehan is behind it to clean up, and Richie Downey won't panic, and he'll be cool as you can. He'll be settle it down, get them going. Skehan out to Scully, back to Skehan, and Portlaoise are motoring again now. They're coming back. Scully sets it up, quick pass and basketball pass there, and he's just so comfortable on the ball. There is, to frighten you, as they say, as Chris Cricky Mulhall up here again, out here to the Portlaoise man that looked like Gary Whelan it was, and now Ratheniska intercept that. Benny Dowling coming up the field to Kieran Delaney. Delaney a bit farther out now for them,
Richie Hitchcock,
as Richie Hitchcock on it. So Kieran Delaney's come out a bit. That's not good for Ratheniska as young Connolly goes to the ball there. Sideline balls of Brendan Hickey and Portlaoise. Young McGovern, Aidan McGovern, is going to move it on, and he does back to Gary Whelan, another man that hurled last week for them. And Brian McCormack across the field they go. Portlaoise, they're starting to stretch it out now again, and use the width of the pitch, which is great to see. They're standing on the line. It comes back to Chris Higgins. Higgins got that ball away fairly before he fell to the ground, as Duggan has it. Back it comes to Higgins again. Chris Higgins, Scully inside him, and Scully gets it off him. Now they're just playing around and moving it quickly, Scully, but that one with the spray from Scully is disappointed him. A lot of men Ratheniska, but Richie Hitchcock trying to get them play moving, and that Mark G came at pace, and that's the ball you want as Richie Hitchcock moves it on now again. Inside it goes to DJ O'Connell. Just got to the bit low, got to his bootlaces before he could get his hands on it, but he's retaining possession. Being tackled by John Rusty Delaney. Foul said Desi Cooney as the ball went into Kieran Delaney, and Kieran Delaney was subsequently fouled, and I think that Aidan McGovern kind of smiles at him and says, "You got me out in that one there." I think Kieran used all his experience in that one as well.
Yeah, it's a good tough battle in there between Aidan McGovern and Kieran Delaney, and I think probably in the last 10 minutes since the second quarter began, Park haven't been able to get the ball into Kieran Delaney enough, as Pudgy Dunn is on the ball, kicks it high, but kicks it right and wide. And Pat, when you're kicking into the town end, if you're kicking from the stand side, when the wind comes across the end of the stand and across the goals, it always takes the ball away towards the apartments on the far side. And
it's easy for us to talk here and say it, but the wind is always swirling down there. You never know, you can never predict it.
It is.
As Richie Downey got on the way, Scully was on and Scully was fouled by young Brian Fingleton, and Portlaoise try and get it underway. Cathal Duggan inside to Scott Lawless, dropped by Cricky, but back to Scott Lawless. He get on his right boot, and that's that's what he wants on the right foot, and that's where Scott is coming into it now.
You know what, Pat, Scott has got on plenty of ball in this game so far, and you mentioned it earlier in your commentary. He might have been a little bit rusty in terms of coming back from the injury last year, and not a whole lot of game time so far this year, but as this game goes on, he's growing into the game more and more, and that's what Scott Lawless can do, and if you give him the space, he'll ping it over the bar all day.
Jamie Downey gets on the way. Podge Dunn went and got it this time now. His own man, they seem to be collision there as
Richie
Hitchcock's down, and that's the man they don't want to see injured, as Mark G moves it across to Brian Dunn. Brian Dunn quickly booted across inside there to Kieran Delaney. Delaney being marked by McCormack, pushed on the back, says Desi Cooney, and a free in for Kieran Delaney off Brian McCormack, and Richie Hitchcock just getting a little bit of attention. That Park Ratheniska will certainly not want to see Richie injured.
No, he's been quite influential in the game coming up from wing back so far, Pat, but he's a hardy bit of stuff. I like the way he plays. He's head up footballer that runs straight lines and carries the ball well.
It looks like DJ on this one. I think it looks like DJ O'Connell coming into. He got a point the last day. It looks very high and it's gone to the left and wide. That's unfortunate for DJ.
Missed opportunity, Pat, when you think it's a 21-yard free. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit to the right hand side, halfway between the goals and the sideline, and you're a left-footed player. You'd have to think that it should be going over the bar. I think sometimes inside forwards and free takers, when they're taking frees out of their hands, Pat, tend to kick them too high. And the wind tends to catch them then, and in that case, he kicked it very high as Portlaoise take the kick out, really good kick out again. Duggan,
he's going right into their pockets, he is, as they call it, as Aidan McGovern comes at speed as well, moves the ball on. Who's getting him Mulhall, but Hitchcock is back there, and Kieran Delaney's back there sweeping up now, Mark of course, and Hitchcock on it again. They'll be delighted in Ratheniska to see Hitchcock back to full belt as Brian Fingleton comes up the field with now, being chased by the Portlaoise man. That's Oisin Fitzpatrick holds him up, and Fingleton turns back. He has plenty of support. Back to Podgy Dunn and Hitchcock calling for it here. Dunn goes long field with it across to Mark Delaney. Mark G inside is young Connolly looking for it. He gives a lovely ball inside to him. He has the time to run. There is Brian Dunn. He didn't take that option. A bit of a block by the Portlaoise man that worked out well for him. It breaks the side to Portlaoise on the ground. Kieran Delaney, and a great save by Richie Downey, has to be said there, Fergal.
I said it already, Pat. I was impressed with him, but in fairness, that was a very, very impressive save. We might see it on the replay here again.
Yeah.
It was a good, it was a kind of a half block down, I think. That
Connolly could have picked out Dunn. He didn't.
Yeah,
he went. The ball blocked down and dropped. Yeah.
Breaking ball. He stretches out that left leg, and it's a superb save there by Richie Downey. And in fairness to him, he's had a superb game so far. Yeah. And really, that's what Portlaoise wanted, but not what Park Ratheniska wanted. It was a great opportunity to level the scores. But if they could get a point from it, Pat, I'm sure they'll be happy.
DJ O'Connell steps up for this 45 now. It's high, it's long, it's an excellent score, and that's builds his confidence back up again, Fergal.
You know what, Pat, when I look at him striking that ball off the ground from 40 metres out, and he had a lot to spare on it, you'd wonder why he didn't strike the 21 metre free from off the ground into that breeze,
Richie again straight down under Andrew Dowling, well held by him. They're obviously practice that well. Richie Downey very precise, but they get a touch on it, but Scully gets it, and that's where you get the working in the tight spaces for the basketball. Gary Whelan, that's Brian Lockton, is it? And it comes across here to Andrew Dowling, starting to come into the game now, come out a bit deeper for the ball. Comes across here to Cricky Mulhall. Mulhall tries his shot again. It's bouncing dangerously in front of Downey. It was a let off there. That was a bit of a chance to take there, Fergal, wasn't it?
It was dicey moment, to be honest, for Park Ratheniska there. I suppose the problem there is that Jamie Downey's not the tallest man in the world, and when the ball is coming across the goals like that and it bounces, it can bounce high or it can bounce low, Pat, and he just didn't take the chance on it, but it could have been a very risky move.
So a lot of movement in front for the Park Ratheniska as Jamie changed his mind there, but it goes out long out in the middle between Podge Dunn and Scully. This has been a battle all day, but it falls kindly to Colin Brennan. Brennan was dispossessed, but again there's another Ratheniska man, and that's Mark Delaney out straight away. Take no mess in these lads, going to move on, and Hitchcock moves into Mark. Mark now looks up, obviously looking for Kieran, blocked by Staunton. Picked up again by Mark Delaney. Gets to one or two lads, and he's staying going now. He's well able into Brian Dunn. Dunn, can he pop it outside to Mark G. Delaney? Mark going on the way. Low shot. High rises. A great score by Park Ratheniska, and that was a good move, Fergal.
It was a great move, Pat, and it was set up again by Mark Delaney coming from deep. He has a great engine on him. He's put in a great shift so far. Richie Hitchcock was involved, but in fairness, Pat, we haven't mentioned him too much in the commentary in terms of how well he's playing, but we've mentioned him a lot for being on the ball, and that's Mark G. Delaney.
Absolutely.
A great score by him there, and as Parker on the attack again, and
comes
they could level this up
from the kick out. Uncharacteristic mistake from Richie Downey. He's looking for his own man. Flanagan still has it. Young Connolly, James Connolly, across the field it comes, and there's that's a Tierney into Mark G. Delaney, man you just mentioned, and unfortunately went off to the left and wide for him.
It was a good opportunity for Park Ratheniska to level up the game, Pat, just before half time. But I'm telling you now, they'll still be happy of the position they're in. I hope they don't rue the goal chance miss, but in fairness to Richie Downey, it was a good save.
Absolute superb.
It was no fault of Park Ratheniska that they didn't get the score on that occasion. It was all down to Richie Downey.
Richie goes again out here. It comes to Brian McCormack and intercepted by Kieran Delaney, and he got that one inside to young Connolly. Connolly going forward, back out to Delaney again. He'll try and get that equalise the score before the half. He didn't. He just didn't. Took the wrong option again. They've had a couple of chances. It could have been ahead now, even against all the odds. Fergal.
They could indeed, Pat, and I suppose when you look at Richie Downey kicking out that ball, and he's quite precise when he kicks it out. I felt that Brian McCormack just waited for the ball a little bit, and the Park Ratheniska man came through him from behind and dispossessed him. I think maybe this time you'll probably see Richie going long to maybe Craig Scully out around the middle of the field and try and win that primary possession.
Scully's out here calling for it. Richie's not gone. He's gone to the other side to Duggan, and that's well held by Carl Duggan there. Safe pair of hands there, and he moves the ball across here, and that's Brian Nocton across here to Scully. Trying to be tracked by Podge Dunn. He goes by him, and that's a good turn there. That's the experience there of Cricky Mulhall. Tackled on the sideline. He's been bottled in. Paps outside to Duggan. Duggan back to Brian Nocton. Nocton obviously going to switch to the other side of the field, and it goes quickly to Oisin Fitzpatrick, who dispatched across to Chris Higgins. Higgins outside here. Is that looks like Staunton, was it? Martin Staunton back
On
out
the
of come
ground.
to young
Yeah,
Cormac
he's
Dunn,
unfortunate.
and he was very unfortunate there as Desi Cooney calls a half-time break, and both teams will be happy enough to get the break. Ratheniska, I suppose, since the break have come back into. They've had a few chances. We talked about the fantastic save from Richie Downey, but who would be happier of the two after the first half? It's still a really tight game, Fergal.
It's a very tight game, Pat, and it's a final. So, I suppose both teams are happy to be still well in the game. I think on the balance of power, if you look at it now, Pat, though, and Park Ratheniska will be looking at turning around to play with that breeze, with the calibre of Kieran Delaney and the form he's in inside. They might be a little happier at this stage, but, Portlaoise are strong. They're strong in lots of positions, and they'll be happy enough to be ahead at half time, and giving themselves a chance to drive on in the second half.
And from a Ratheniska point of view, the Delaney twins, again, prolific in this there. I can see Kieran down there. He's having a word with Brendan and Kieran. He's certainly not happy about something. So, look, they've got themselves back into this, against the breeze. I know the breeze can't win you again, but it's probably in your head. It kind of helps you, does it, Fergal? When you're facing the second half, you think you have a little advantage with you.
Well, psychologically, you think, it's there, but sometimes the breeze at your back can be a hindrance as well, because maybe you start delivering balls in from further out than you should, and they're not as accurate, and they're running out over the end line, Pat, when you'd be maybe better off to hold the ball in hand and run it through the lines, but I think, as we've mentioned it already, the Park Ratheniska management are fairly experienced, with Kieran Kelly and Brendan there as well, and
don't forget Mousey with all the clubs. Fairness to Mousey, brought a lot to that thing.
Mousey's a big addition.
I got he is, absolutely.
Pat, and I know what he brings to the table.
At county level he's been,
I know what he brings to the table, for sure. He's experienced. So,
absolutely.
They won't be letting their players get ahead of themselves.
They'll
be bringing them back down to earth. They won't be saying that the wind is going to win it for them, because it just isn't. And Portlaoise should be down there saying, we have the players that can carry this ball through the lines on the field. We can carry the ball into the wind, and they'll be saying, let's start taking our shots from a higher percentage area. Let's try to convert more of our chances, because in fairness, Pat, they've had plenty of chances in the first half.
Okay, so we'll take a short break here. We'll be back to you fairly soon from MW Herrenmoor Park. Laois Shopping Centre Junior A Football Championship Final. Half-time score. Portlaoise lead by 5 points. Park Ratheniska 4 points. See you shortly. Very welcome back to Laois Shopping Centre Junior A Football Championship Final from MW Hiramore Park. As you join us, both teams have quickly finished the half-time break. Fergal, quickly, what do you think Kieran Kelly will be after saying to his lads, and then young Mulhall to his boys?
Yeah, Kieran Kelly will be saying I want more the same. I want the effort. I want, breaking out from the back, the likes of Mark Delaney and what's his name, Richie Hitchcock and Podge Dunn coming through the middle like they're doing. But Portlaoise should be saying, get the ball into Scott Lawless a little bit quicker and get Cottle Duggan on the ball a little bit more. Cottle Duggan, in fairness to him, has had a very, very good first half. Pat, he's got on a lot of ball there, and he's been very impressive for me, to be honest.
As I said, sorry mistake, Ronan Malloy, of course, is the manager of the Portlaoise team, and he's joined ably by a very experienced Joe Daly, among other Sean Brown there, you see, as well with him. So as Richie Hitchcock begins to start, the ball drops away from what he's going, he pops it outside here, Kieran Delaney's on it, and is that the first score? It is, and that's a really important score from Ratheniska to get them going.
What did we say, Pat? Take the ball straight down the heart of the Portlaoise defence, and that's exactly what Park Ratheniska did from the throw-in, and they got their sharpshooter on the ball at the end of it, Pat, which is what you want, but Portlaoise won't panic, Pat. They'll work the ball up the field here, and they'll create chances themselves, there's no doubt.
Richie Downey out to Gavin Sheehan being chased there, but now by Brian Dunn. Brian Dunn get back to ground and turn them back, but it comes out to Cathal Duggan. Duggan now won't panic. He's looking across to see what the options are. Craig Scully is one of them. He's not going to go. He goes back to young Whelan there, Gary Whelan, and Whelan back to Duggan. They're taking their time looking up. See a lot of Ratheniska man back there, but Craig Scully is left here on his own. He's trying to see can he get it going there. Pops it across to Andrew Dowling back to Scully inside here to Staunton trying to turn, being bottled up by two Ratheniska men, 3-4 of them, and they're harrying and tackling in bunches as they break out there with Colin Brennan, get them on the way to Mark G. Delaney. He looks up, there's not too many options in front of him though, but one of them is Kieran Delaney, and will he win the tackle? He goes out, no freeze to the referee, but he wins the line ball. Accidental trip, said the referee. So tenacious tackling as well there by Ratheniska. They've upped that part of it as well.
They were getting the men behind the ball in the first half, Pat, but they weren't getting the tackles in. They were ferocious in their tackling there, but Portlaoise kind of ran into the trap, unfortunately, on that occasion. Portlaoise, instead of running down the throat of the defence, try and navigate your way around it, you know what I mean, recycle the ball. As Park Ratheniska go again, a good block there by Craig Scully. He's had a good game so far, Pat.
That falls inside to young Connolly, but breaks again to Hitchcock. Hitchcock's very dangerous here. He's gone. Highly experienced man. Back to young Connolly. Connolly inside pops it. DJ trying to make Burr's way through. Richie Downey on him. 3 or 4 around him. No fouls for referee. Absolutely great tackling by Portlaoise, but I think the sliding tackle from, again, the second one there from Aidan McGovern in the match here has cost him a free. That was danger there again for Portlaoise.
It was danger, Pat, but I think Park Ratheniska probably would have been better off just slotting that ball over the bar. Keep the scoreboard ticking over. Portlaoise had men behind the ball there. Richie Downey was out quick as well. I don't think once young O'Connell got the ball, I think it was at the end of that there.
DJ,
I don't think there was ever any scoring opportunity for him at that stage as he gets ready to take this free. You can just hear probably the groans of the crowd, and the result of it. That was a 14 metre free or 30 metre free, Pat, and he should have been over the bar. He kicked a 45 off the ground. He kicked that one out of his hands again and kicked it sky high up in the air and lost control of it. So maybe he has to rethink his free taking strategy.
As Chris Higgins gets the kick out from Richie Downey to John Rusty Delaney, he took that shoulder fairly well, and no bother to him as Gary Whelan moves up the line now. Craig Scully come across to claim it, but it goes back again to Higgins. Higgins looks up across here to Cathal Duggan, as you said earlier, been on an awful lot of ball, puts the ball back to Craig Scully. That's
good ball.
Scully well able to keep that in control now. Mark G waiting from back it comes again. Portlaoise being patient, the build up. Whelan,
it's actually Brian
low ball aside, Nocton, but that breaks there to Hitchcock again now. He's been really on an awful live wire here so far, as he would be. A fantastic player for Park Ratheniska. And he looks up, nothing, and he puts the ball in front, but that goes off, and picking it up is Oisin Fitzpatrick. That was meant for Brian Flanagan, but didn't work out for him, as Brian Delaney fouls and a free out there. Unnecessary foul from Brian Delaney stops Oisin Fitzpatrick coming out, and Richie Downey gets it underway from play. Outside to John Delaney, a bit tight there now. There could be trouble here, but they get it to clear their lines, and out they come. And that's Gavin Skehan on it now, and back to Scully. Scully goes around Podge Dunn hanging over. Referee says a free. Scully holds onto it. and moves the ball along. So Portlaoise now
Brian
trying to get around it. Brian McCormack, Kieran Delaney waiting from the front. Gavin Skean back across here to Duggan. Scott Lawless call it for Duggan, goes in, but that break, and that's Mark Delaney mops it up inside there out to Podgy Dunn. Podgy now looking outside, see outside, puts a long ball inside, and that's his brother Brian, but that goes out beyond him, and he wasn't able to get his hands on that, and Aidan McGovern will say thanks very much and clear it out, and John Rusty Delaney out, moves on the ball, and now it's come to Duggan. So Portlaoise on the attack again from a Ratheniska attack straight back. Is starting to do toing and froing here now, and scores may be hard to come by, so chances need to be taken as Scully puts it across his midfield mate Chris Higgins back to Mulhall. Cricky back to Scully out to Staunton now looking ominous for Portlaoise as Higgins pops across to Scott Lawless 5 men around him, and Podge Dunn gets it, and they Scott was left on his own there. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get the support Fergal to him in time.
Portlaoise are running into cul-de-sacs, Pat. Park Ratheniska are packing that defence back there, and Portlaoise are just running right into the trap, as I said. That ball was given to Scott Lawless when there was 3 men on him at the time.
Fingleton across to James Conley, and a exciting young player. He has to go back in his left, pops it across here to DJ. Can DJ better look this time? Absolutely. Great score, DJ O'Connell. That'll get back his confidence from the last one.
Yeah, he made amends there, but that was the right boot that time, Pat. You know what I mean? And the previous one was from the left boot. You know what I mean? So he really curled that in nicely over the bar, but it was from a high percentage area as well, like we spoke about earlier, Pat. And that's where you want your forwards taking.
Chris Higgins underneath him, but it's broken down by Fingleton, picked up by Brian Dunn. Brian Dunn, big strong full forward, back to Fingleton. Fingleton inside to Conley. Young Conley gets it again. There's men running there. Podgy Dunn was one of them. Inside to Kieran Delaney. It was a great ball. Kieran Delaney on it, and a goal from Park Ratheniska. And that was a great move, Fergal, to be honest. It has to be said.
Yeah, but I think Brian Dunn, he's a big man, Pat. He's operating a good bit out from goal now. And Kieran Delaney was in the position that you wanted Kieran Delaney in that time, close to goal. But they worked hard and worked the ball in really well to Kieran Delaney, and he finished it absolutely brilliantly.
Richie goes out to Trey Scully. Podge Dunn is going to be on it now. So Ratheniska, the tails will be up after that score, you would expect. But Scully won't panic, and neither will any of the Portlaoise. They're too experienced for that. And it's only like this 4 points in it, 1-9 to 5 points, 1-6 to 5. So that's 4 points in it. So they won't panic as Martin Staunton picks up the ball for Scully. Lawless trying to get on to Scott. He's going his own, takes a shot. Is that going to go over the bar? It does, and they're back a point already. That's what you'd need from your team after conceding a goal, isn't it, Fergal?
Yeah, that's what you'd expect from Portlaoise as well, though. They don't panic, Pat. No. They really don't, and they worked that ball really well up the field, and they got their sharpshooter on the end of it as well, in front of the goals, with a bit of space, and he only needs a small bit of space, Scott does, and he swung the left boot at that time and just glided it nicely over the crossbar. Jamie
Downey goes short to Sean Tierney. Tierney coming out to wing, see who's ahead of him, and ahead of him is Brian Flanagan. Flanagan has had a tough battle there all day. He's won a few of them but lost a few more, but he won that sideline ball there. Sean Tierney looking for it, and as Desi Cooney tells him to go back, he was taking a few steps to more, but that slowed it up from, and it goes across into Brian Dunn. Dunn looking to see who will pop it at, and he pops it outside to Mark Delaney. They're going to come now again, Mark, inside to Conley. Conley's been very good, but he's been well marshaled inside there by Gary Skean, and John Delaney gets it underway, and Andrew Dowling underneath it for Portlaoise. Claims the ball, goes around Benny Green, still has the ball. Duggan is outside him if he wants him, but he decides to go forward to Cormac Dunn. Dunn goes inside, his man gets around him. He's gone around Benny Dowling fairly handy, but comes back out again to Cathal Duggan. Duggan now, again, they're not panicking, they're taking their time. Gary Whelan has it now across here to Duggan, Cathal Duggan, and Duggan across to Craig Scully. Scully look up, the heads up, what are the options? Scott Lawless is one of them, and he takes it. Lawless going to see, can he get through? He looks up, there's a massive green and gold in front of him. They're not panicking at all. Craig Scully pops aside to Staunton. Higgins was gone inside him, but he didn't decide to use him. Comes back out to Brian McCormack. McCormack takes a shot at it, and that will drops inside in the goal, and that's a goal, says the referee. And he's going in to consult with his linesman. Ratheniska would claim there was a square ball.
We might have a look at it here, Pat, because if he wasn't in the square when before. Oh, he's disallowed it, I think, Pat.
Yeah, we'll see it there as Portlaoise were patiently worked in. Martin Staunton and McCormick thing, kicked it, and as he kicked it, then he entered the goal. That was a perfectly legitimate goal.
Goal all day long, Pat.
Absolutely,
It's a goal all day long. The player was well outside the square when the ball was kicked. That's a very bad miss.
Yeah, and that's Ratheniska. I'm sure they're going to breathe a sigh of relief, because that really was a perfectly taken goal by Portlaoise. It didn't work out from as it comes to Connolly. DJ O'Connell in front of him, but he goes along into Kieran Delaney. Delaney turns, but a great block inside there by, I think that was Aidan McGovern. Breaks out to Portlaoise men. They're going to feel aggrieved at this if they lose by a few points. On this replay, if they look back on this match and see that goal there, and everything going Ratheniska's way at this point in time, as Brian Fingleton gets it underway and goes back all the way back here to Sean Tierney. Sean looks up where are the options. A lot of Portlaoise have filtered back, both teams filtering back, and Sean Tierney gets the space to go himself, but he's not going to. He's going to put out here to Flanagan. No, he goes himself, Sean Tierney, but that was a chance that Kieran Delaney's certainly not happy with that.
He'll be jumping up and down the sideline there, Pat. That Park Ratheniska didn't retain possession there. The shot just wasn't on, Pat. Yeah, but like you said, Portlaoise will not be happy with that decision by Desi Cooney and his umpires when they look back at this game, particularly if they're looking back at it as after being defeated, Pat. It won't sit well with them. But they're the decisions. Sometimes they go for you, sometimes they go against you. And Portlaoise will just have to get on with it. They're still well in this game. There's only 3 points in it, 1-6, and they won't let it phase them.
As Aidan McGovern comes up the field, moves it across there. Young Cormac Dunn, lively enough there the whole match, comes across here to Chris Higgins. Again, not panic. He's Scott Lawless come out. Back to Craig Scully, back to Higgins. Higgins is free now. He's going to go for his shot. Will he takes his point? Is it? And that's a great excellent score from Chris Higgins. Well worked there for Portlaoise.
That was a really well worked score, Pat. And you look at young Cormac Dunn coming way out from the inside line, winning the ball, laying it on to Chris Higgins, and then the ball making it across, you know what I mean, and being well executed from a good scoring position, yeah.
As Josh Mulhall, who came on the last day from the semi-final for Park Ratheniska, is coming into the Park Ratheniska team. He's looking forward to see who he's going to replace, and it looks like DJ O'Connell is making way for Josh Mulhall.
Yeah, DJ has had a reasonably good game, Pat. I know he missed a couple of frees, but he's been doing okay. But maybe it's time for a change on the inside line for Portlaoise player down there, Pat. I think it's Scott Lawless.
Colin Brennan there went, and
I think it's Scott Lawless actually. It was a collision just for the kick out. He tried to win the kick out, and I think he collided with two Park Ratheniska players. He looks in a little bit of pain down there, Pat.
Yeah, hopefully Scott is alright. Great footballer, lovely fella. As I said, had a hard year last year. I think, in fairness to him, I think he took over the junior Bs to manage them last year in Portlaoise, and that's what they do. Even though he's an injured lad, he didn't sit at home for whatever time they had. So he's a real good GA lad. You'd hate to see Scott getting injured there, and hopefully he'll be okay after this.
It would be a big blow to Portlaoise, Pat, if Scott didn't recover from the injuries picked up here now. They're back to within 2 points of Park Ratheniska in this game, and they're well in it still, even playing into whatever breeze is out there at the moment. But there was nothing malicious in the tackle, Pat. It was just players going wholeheartedly for the kick out, and he unfortunately ended up on the wrong side of it. But he's hardy, but he looks in a bit of pain there. I think he might have maybe got a knee into the hip or something like that, and it's sore.
You can just see a few switches there, and I see Brian Fingleton looks to be going forward, and Mark G coming. They seem to be bringing him out to get him more on the ball. He's coming out there to middle of the field for Park Ratheniska, and Brian Fingleton, he was taken off the last in the semi-final against Ballyroan Abbey, just moving him in there to just change things up again.
I think it's probably clever use of your players, Pat.
Scott is okay. He's up around. Gingerly got up there. In fairness, Ginger Scott gingerly, but hopefully he'll be okay. We'd love to see him staying on and playing really well. As Mark Delaney gets it underway again for Ratheniska, goes to Brian Dunn. You thought he had hands in, but it dropped out of his hands as it comes to Cricky Mulhall. Staunton was confident in the field, pops out of his hands. Whelan has it, and again it's intercepted by Sean Tierney. Tierney goes back to Richie Hitchcock, and if he gets space now, he's going to do damage. And out they go, Ratheniska to Fingleton. Looks like Brian inside to Kieran Delaney. Delaney won't panic with it, turns his man, turns McGovern. Aidan McGovern is going straight for goal, being tackled by Aidan McGovern, and Aidan McGovern wins that battle and dispossesses him really well as Kieran goes back to get it. He's not giving up on it yet, and the ball's played back to Richard Downey. Richie now steadies up, no one free, but there is now to John Delaney. A bit tight there for them to be playing. John Delaney runs into trouble, and Brian Dunn tries to get the ball off him. Didn't. It breaks. Who's going to break to? As a young man, Hall was making it, but Brian Nocton clears it. John Delaney has it, and now it's coming out here and goes back to Richard Downey. He'll settle it. And goes long with the kick, and it goes out to Staunton. Is it going to go by Martin Staunton? It doesn't. Martin Staunton well tipped on him, but look who was waiting for Donny Mark Delaney, the stalwart. He'd be looking and on to Hitchcock. Hitchcock going through, read ball into young Conley, left all on his own. Seamus Conley, he's always had to go to the middle to get on his life boot, but he pops outside to Mark Delaney. He's come up the field off the upright, and that's Portlaoise can breathe a sigh of relief as Josh Mulhall comes out here. Out it comes there to Brian Flanagan. Flanagan back to Podge Dunn. Podge Dunn going to the middle. He's taking on the shot, and that's a kick from Podge Dunn, and the umpire said that's over the bar. That's a great score, but that was Mark Delaney came all the way up the length of the field and came off the upright for him.
Done everything right, Pat, and young Conley again won a great ball inside, and unselfishly gave it to Mark Delaney, who had made the long trek from his own goal up to the attack, and it was very unfortunate. Done everything right, put the ball low, hard, and it just hit the butt of the post and came back out. But in fairness, Podgy Dunn, once the ball came out to him, he didn't make any mistakes in putting it over the bar.
So Chris Higgins won the kick out, kicked it up to Andrew Dowling. Dowling has won the free, or the sideline ball of Benny Dowling. So it goes back inside. Benny Dowling picks up, and so does the Portlaoise man. That's Cormac Dunn. Inside here, Duggan was looking for it, and it comes back out, but that's badly given away to Podge Dunn. Little few mistakes starting to creep in now, maybe it's tiredness, and that's Mark G on it now, Mark G Delaney. Again, he looks up, not much options on, but here's the one they have, and young Connolly's been super all night in fairness to him. James Connolly, straight inside to the elder statesman, Kieran Delaney. Delaney back out, it comes to Fingleton. He's going for his own score, is he? He takes a shot, and that's an excellent score. That's a decisive score, Fergal, really. They're putting the pressure on now, Ratheniska.
They definitely are, and Brian Fingleton actually kicked that ball with conviction. Once he got it, he had nothing else in his mind on putting it over the bar, and in fairness, he drilled it right between the two uprights, Pat. It was a really good score from Park, and I think strategically Park have got it right so far in the second half. A couple of the switches they've made have worked, putting Brian Fingleton to half forward, bringing out Mark G. Delaney to the middle. Actually, I think Brian Dunn in the second half has got on and mounting the ball as well. Portlaoise, on the other hand, will be guilty of giving away a few balls in attack, Pat, particularly the last couple of attacks there. They actually, hand passes went astray, which is not what you expect from Portlaoise, but you have to get the ball in quick enough and into space. They can definitely still. There's scores there to be got for Portlaoise, and again, as I said already, they won't panic. They're 4 points down, all right, but they won't panic.
And I know we've talked about water breaks. If any team didn't need a water break, this time was probably Park Ratheniska. They were just starting to get the grip. Portlaoise should be delighted, and we can see of all Liam McGovern and Jack Fennell are warming up down their line. Two massive men to bring into any team. Maybe they're rusty or not, but we'll soon find out, and Ratheniska will surely find out, because two big men to be bringing in any team. Yeah,
if you talk to a lot of managers out there at the moment, Pat, they say these water breaks are, they're great if things aren't going well, but they're an absolute disaster if you're in the ascendancy, and Park Ratheniska definitely were in the ascendancy in that third quarter. As we move now into the final quarter of the game, as it is now, but Cormac or young James Conley has been really impressive in the second half here as well. He's lively. He might be small, but he doesn't lack in effort and determination. And
Mark Ramsbottom coming on there for Park Ratheniska, just after coming in there. He came on again in the semi-final. A very young, exciting player. We're going to see now shortly who he might be replacing. We know
he's playing a half back there anyway, so
we'll pick it up there shortly.
Maybe it's Sean Tierney, I'm not sure. No, Sean's still there.
Yeah, Sean has had a good game there, but Portlaoise coming away, it falls onto Craig Scully, backs into Podge Dunn. They still retain possession. It's Whelan. Gary moves it across here to John Rusty Delaney. The crowd trying to urge Portlaoise on. He goes aside there. Oisin Fitzpatrick, well held by him, goes back out here to Cricky Mulhall. Mulhall puts the ball across the field. Who's going to break it? Underneath it is Brian Dunn, is he? And he claims that there. He's trying to claim a mark, and he's entitled to claim a mark. It's a defensive mark, as they call it. He gets it out to his brother Podge, and they're going to try and get it on the way again. Fingleton telling him to go left with it, but he goes. Podge Dunn kicks the ball, very high ball inside there, but who's under James Connolly. He's been really good now, come into it, as you said earlier on. He won't panic as Sean Tierney's beside him, but he goes quick to go to Josh Mulhall. Mulhall was going to give the quick ball, but they're steadied up again, comes back out to Podge Dunn. They're patient in their build-up. That's coming from Kieran Delaney. He certainly won't want them, as he shouts to Brian Dunn to try and the space opens up and Brian goes, but that was a lazy solo, and that was easily dispossessed as Chris Higgins tried to get Portlaoise on the way again. Back out to Scully. Scully, and a lot of these lads have had hard mileage with a county final hurling only last Sunday. That's bound to be start telling on the legs for them now, as Duggan tries to move across inside to Cormac Dunn. Dunn goes to ground, no faults to Eddie Cooney, a foul out, 3 outs to Eddie Cooney. That's unfortunate. That's hard luck on Cormac Dunn, I think, in that case.
Yeah, nothing going right for Portlaoise or Cormac Dunn on this occasion. He done everything right there, but Desi deemed that he touched the ball on the ground, and that was it.
Fingland gets on the way inside to Kieran Delaney. Delaney, the sure hands of Kieran Delaney, played county minor, Leinster and All-Ireland winner. You don't get too many of them lads around the place. As James Connolly gets dispossessed, the umpire's gone out, haven't made a decision. He now decides that it's a 45, and I think Ed McGovern got an important interception there, because James Connolly against Aidan McGovern. Connolly could have won out there, so he was better to do that, I think.
You mentioned Aidan McGovern there, Pat, and I think, although Park Ratheniska are in the ascendancy in the second half, Aidan McGovern has been trying his living best out there to keep them at bay, and he's thrown himself at everything that moves, and he's showing great determination out there. Unfortunately, on this occasion, it's a 40, but he'll take that, because it could have been a far more dangerous situation had young Connolly got on the ball.
45 from Park Ratheniska. That's a real long streak. Richie Downey, watch it, goes out over the line. That looked like Mark G. Delaney. I think they might have took that one, but that went to the left and wide, and Richie Downey watched it go out over. So Richie now will be anxious to get the ball into. He's been very accurate so far with a lot of his kick-outs, and he goes again. Oisin Fitzpatrick's underneath that, and Oisin Fitzpatrick picks it out. There's some excellently worked kick-outs, Fergal. You could see there's been a bit of work on into it.
There's no doubt, and in fairness to Richie Downey, he can execute them as well, in fairness.
Yeah, as they play on, says Carl Duggan was fouled there, play on, says Desi Cooney, and Carl does, and coming back to his Podge Dunn, and Podge Dunn fouled him here again, probably for the second time, as Duggan moves it on inside to Cormac Dunn. Dunn now getting a bit of space, turning his man, turns back into the middle, pops outside to Scott Lawless. Scott seems to shook off that injury, comes across to Cricky Mulhall inside. That's Liam McGovern that came on. Another exciting Portlaoise player, in fairness to him, that goes across, and that's wasted by Portlaoise. They really needed probably to get that, Fergal.
They could have done with a score badly there, Pat, to bring it back to just a 3-point game, and a 3-point game in a final is a dangerous lead,
Yeah.
But the shot was rushed as well that time, Pat. I think Portlaoise need to be a little bit more calm. There's still plenty of time in the game. They need to pick off their scores, get themselves into good, better scoring positions, as Park Ratheniska win the kick out again here.
Mark from the spot and picked up that kick out from Jamie Downey. Down goes Sean Tierney. Tierney turns his man, turns back around, coming across them with Cricky Mulhall. Out it goes to Podge Dunn. Dunn now looking up, see what thing. Connolly's pointing. So is Kieran Delaney. Goes to neither of them. It drops into the middle of them there. Well picked up now. Aidan McGovern breaks out with it. Back to Richard Downey. Richie looking up to see where his options are in front of him there, as Gavin Skehan picks it up, puts it across Aidan McGovern. They're playing a little dangerously there as Podge Dunn comes in, carelessly swings over his player there, but on it goes. Gary Whelan switches across. Will they make it? Brian McCormick picks that ball up, and Portlaoise on the attack again now. On they go. Portlaoise 2 or 3 Ratheniska coming around, but not able to get him. Falls to Carl Duggan, who's been dangerous all night. Back it goes to Brian McCormick. McCormick getting space opening up from it. Ratheniska has coming to him. Scott Lawless is out, met by Sean Tierney. Scott again back to Duggan. Duggan moves it across here to Cricky Mulhall. Mulhall inside to McGovern. McGovern, there's only one thing in his mind, he's going for goal. His way is blocked well by Richie Hitchcock. Hitchcock comes out. McGovern has it again, comes back out again. Out it comes to Duggan. Poor Ratheniska standing stoutly now. doing well in defence, keeping Portlaoise limiting their options. One of them is the ball inside that goes aside. That's Jack Fennell. Fennell picks it up, the familiar looking. He's going for a goal again. Pops outside to Fitzpatrick outside to Dunn and Portlaoise pick up the point, but they had to work hard for that score, but it's still a good score for them.
Yeah, they did have to work hard, Pat, but they took the right decisions that time at the right times. They didn't rush it, they recycled it. I know the Portlaoise crowd are maybe getting a little bit impatient in front of us here, but that was the right thing to do in that time. They still, as I said, have plenty of time. There's loads of time in this game, Pat, and you know, it's back to a 3-point game. It's a 1-score game, and anything can happen.
Yeah, Barry Nocton makes way for Gavin Skean. I had been on playing earlier on because we were told there was no changes, but anyway, and then the numbers are hard to pick out, but anyway, he's now made his way in, and Brian Nocton makes way from, and it goes out, well picked up there by Mark Ramsbottom. Ramsbottom has done it, come in and worked well since he's come in now. Obviously, you know, a young man like that, they know what he can do, and they've waited this time to spring him. I could see that Brian Flanagan went off the team there, off Park Ratheniska that time as Brendan takes his time to throw back the ball. Brendan Delaney, as I said, manager here the last time they won this, selector here today with Tomas Moore, Pat Brennan, and of course Kieran Kelly leading the way for them as they keep control of the ball. Podge, Kieran Kelly told him to hold on to the ball, and that's it, of course, Fergal. I mean, this time, if you hold on to the ball, the other team haven't got it, and that's what you can do.
There's a lot of effort to try and get it back,
Pat. Ramsbottom back to Dunn. They're looking to switch it across. Podge, Dunn with it, looks up, see what the options are. One of them is Mulhall across here to Brian Dunn. Brian now moves the ball in quickly inside to Connolly. It bounces off and takes control of it and claims the mark, and a well taken mark there. We haven't seen too many of them in this game, but that's an old head and young shoulders there, Fergal. Yeah,
there's been a lot of opportunities that haven't been taken up to now, but young James Connolly took the mark that time, kicked it high, has kicked it wide, but I suppose at this stage of the game, was there 6.5 minutes left, you know, it would have put 4 between them, so you know he probably would be disappointed he didn't slot that one between the posts. Richie Downey
1-8, Portlaoise 1-8, or 8 points as 54 minutes gone in this game, so we're coming into the last few minutes of it, but Portlaoise not out this by any means. They just find the scores a little bit harder to come by, but it could change as Jack Fennell goes on it. Jack Fennell, a former senior player not too long ago, and a fantastic player, and when he played for him, as goes into Cormac Dunn, who's done really well here tonight. Back it comes to Gavin Skean, but that's
Scott Lawless.
Inside the break to Jack Fennell. The referee has blown for I think the umpire may have waved it wide.
No, I think it was a push in the back. So
Liam McGovern is involved in there, and Jack Fennell, the two late subs, but it goes Ratheniska happy enough as Podge Dunn takes the free. It collects the free, kicks it back though to Mark Delaney. Delaney looking up, maybe he'll go on another run. His way is blocked by Portlaoise man, and Brian Dunn is back there. He moves it outside here to space. Nothing better than to stretch the team out, I suppose, as Mark Ramsbottom comes in, and Wiley head back to Richie Hitchcock. Richie inside it goes to young Connolly. Connolly again with the ball. It played really well, as we said already. It has to go in on his left. Has always going across the goal. Pushing it back from John Delaney. Cute one. Comes here to Fingleton. Fingleton takes a shot. That's gone to left and wide. Will they rule those wasted chances, Fergal?
Yeah, they possibly could, Pat. I mean, they could be 5 points up now with less than 5 minutes to go, and it's still only 3. So, you know, when there's 3 points in the game, it's a 1-score game. So, you know, Portlaoise will still be a team in with a chance as it comes
Richie
out to Craig Scully. Well caught in the middle of the field.
Now they're going Portlaoise now. In comes Gary Whelan, trying to go along, be tackled, but taken to the ground by Ramsbottom. Very unfairly, says Desi Cooney, and this could be a little bit of bother for him. It's a black card territory, isn't this, Fergal?
He's played well since he came on. Mark Ramsbottom has, but that was a bit of a rash tackle, and you know, if maybe Desi will give a yellow for it, I'm not sure. Depends on how he sees it, but black it is, Pat. And you know, it's the right decision by the referee.
Absolutely,
it was a rash tackle. It was a rash tackle by Mark Ramsbottom. He didn't need to do it.
No.
And 14 men against 15 for the remainder of the game, Pat. So you know. Game on.
Cricky Mulhall back outside to call Duggan. There's a free man over here now. The Portlaoise free man's going to pop up in a few places, and it's Brian McCormack on this occasion as Richie Hitchcock goes out to try and lessen the gap that's there to him across to Scott. Scott gingerly moving around. He's just not on full firing. He definitely had that little injury. He's not been as mobile as before. Portlaoise though still holding on to the ball, skiing inside there, and that's coming across to And that's a dangerous ball aside. Who's going to get it? Liam McGovern. Is it McGovern? No, that's Cricky Mulhall. Mulhall was shot and he hit the umpire instead of hitting the net. Ratheniska, another sigh of relief for them. They're living on the edge now at this stage, Fergal.
Yeah, and it could be a long 3 or 5 minutes for them now, Pat, because Portlaoise will have nothing in their heads other than goal. You know what I mean? And I think they will see an opportunity here too yet between now and the end of the game if they can keep the ball going in that direction. And we haven't mentioned it since it happened, but there's 3 points in the game, Pat, and there was a goal disallowed for Portlaoise. So their gander is up though now at the moment, and Park are trying to hang on.
As Craig Sully collects that kick out from Jamie Downey there ahead of Podge Dunn and moves the ball in quick. Liam McGovern going to the left. He's trying to eye up the shot. He has the confidence to take it. Blocked by Richie Hitchcock. Pops it outside to Cormac Dunn. Dunn now looking again at the options. He'll probably go back. It goes back to McGovern. Liam McGovern. A long high ball on the side there. Dropping underneath it there is that looks like Oisin Fitzpatrick, is it? Fitzpatrick across to Scott. Scott is a big call for Scott Laois on the left. Takes a shot. Jamie Downey has control of that. And out it comes to Colin Brennan. Brennan. Dangerous ball, but back there is making it is Brian Fingleton, and now comes to Sean Tierney. Ratheniska will probably be looking to get a score. Nice ball from Sean Tierney up to Mark G. Delaney. Young Conley's coming out for it, but they're going to go back. They're probably going to go back because not all the troops haven't arrived yet for Ratheniska, but they're arriving now. And Brian Dunn is one of them. Big Brian Dunn looking, pops it aside. Young dangerous ball said to Conley. He probably should have held on to it, Fergal. That was,
I think Pat, on that occasion, Aidan McGovern done really, really well. He showed his power and strength and just came straight through the man ball and all. Is what we say in the olden days, as Jack Fennell,
beaten by Sean Tierney, but gets it again. And Jack, less air than he used to have before, but it comes out to Scott Lawless, out to Duggan, Cahill Duggan, back to Jack Fennell. As Craig Scully looking for him. Jack Fennell goes for a shot. This is like the olden days when unfortunately that's gone to the right and wide. Jack, here comes Jojo Salmon. I thought he might be on earlier. Jojo Salmon, again, another excellent player. Scored a couple of points when he came on the last day for Portlaoise.
Looks to be carrying an injury though, Pat.
That
right leg is heavily strapped. And
Scott Lawless makes way, and Scott has really lifted all out there in fairness to him. When he was injured, he wasn't right since that injury, but he stayed there. A real gallant warrior. But Jojo Salmon come in as well as Brian Dunn makes way, and I think I saw was that Sean Tynan coming on for it is Sean Tynan for Ratheniska, an excellent player, obviously been injured all along, big mobile player, another good man to bring into the team, and as he burst up the line they didn't look at him. Ratheniska don't want to get into themselves in trouble as John Delaney tries to put the press on. As young Mulhall there, back they go with it, back to Sean Tierney now to Colin Brennan. They'll want to move the ball out because messing back there won't help them if they're dispossessed as Mark G moves it across and Kieran Delaney's up here to get it, and now it's coming back to Benny Green. Benny tried, but that goes wayward tackle or pass that was meant for Brian Fingleton, but didn't get to him. Jojo Salmon picks up in the middle of the field now. Portlaoise coming again. Time is up, but we don't know what injury time is going to be played. That's up to Desi Cooney as Craig Scully moves out to John Delaney back to Gary Whelan now across to Cricky Mulhall got a goal the last day from, and Portlaoise missed a lot of goals in their semi-final. With Jojo Salmon come on to tackled by Sean Tynan, free, and says Desi Cooney. Jojo Salmon went to the ground. Ratheniska won't mind conceding it out there.
They'll see that, Pat, as a good. They'll see that as a good free to give away.
Cormac Dunn going to take the free.
Barnessi chips it into the square.
I think that may be an option. Jack Fennell is in there. Craig Scully is bound to be in there. He'll be looking to dunk that ball in the net.
Although he looks like he's shaping up to kick it over the bar, to be honest. I don't know what time is left, but we're a minute into injury time here.
And that's what he does. Yeah. And as if a 3-point game wasn't bad enough, 2 point is worse.
A dangerous 2-point game is right, Pat.
Jamie Downey will take his time to collect this ball and walk around the longest way he can around O'Moore Park goals, and he'll jog out to try and pretend to Desi that he really wants to get this game underway. These are the last few minutes. This is where you need your men to stand up and be counted, as I see Mark G. Delaney going out to the wing there, but it comes short. That was dangerous. And who picks it up? Only Mark Delaney. You'd want no one else on the ball at this time. It pops aside to young Conley. Conley gathers it, picks it up. Coming again is Mark Delaney. Delaney on to cross here to young Mulhall. the gander is up for thing. Will he go for the shot? And that's he should have. There was Kieran Delaney was aside his own there. Another mistake, I think, from Park Ratheniska.
I think Park Ratheniska were very lucky that wasn't a one-on-one situation down the other end from the kick-out. Jamie Downey, it was only for the good quick thinking of Mark Delaney, kept that ball going in the right direction for Park.
So
as Portlaoise come in the attack.
They're let off and they're coming again. And they will come again as Gavin Skehan, Jojo Salmon takes it off him. Salmon tackled by Sean Tynan in front of him. Big Sean trying to get the hand on it. Long they go to Brian McCormick launching his header. Jack Fennell coming for it. He claims it, but the Ratheniska man claims that Desiconi blows the free. He's pointing. He hasn't pointed yet to the free out or what direction it's going. Ratheniska will be playing. Everyone down there will be praying it's coming out. Anyone in green and gold will be praying it's coming out. He's telling us what happened, but he's not telling it. Obviously, it's a free out for Park Ratheniska. I can only assume at this stage.
It was just two lads going for the ball as well.
Yeah.
Liam McGovern is fairly badly injured over there as well. I think he hasn't gone down, or he actually has, but I think there might have been a clash of heads involved there as well, Pat. Do you know what I mean? But I think it was just an all full-out collision for the ball. Again, nothing malicious in it at all.
63 minutes gone in this game. You can't expect to be a whole lot of injury time. There wasn't a whole lot Fergal on it, but look, we'll wait for this whatever time these chaps take to get back to the field. I suppose Scott was down for a little bit of while as well. There could be a couple of more minutes. We weren't told how much is left, but everyone in Park Ratheniska and anyone else that follows them will be praying and hoping that Desi Cooney will play no more. The people in Portlaoise should be hoping he gives them another chance at it. They've had a few chances and haven't been able to take them. There's been controversy and every sort of thing in this game as well. But 8 to 9 points, it's a typical final. No inch given or taken, Fergal. Real tight stuff.
Yeah, and that's what you'd expect from a final, Pat. Yeah, and that's what you expect from two, very good club teams. I mean, Park Ratheniska in their own right, a really, really solid club team in Laois. Portlaoise, well established, multiple county champions. As Lee McGovern looks to have to come off here, Pat, and I'm not sure have they put on a replacement for.
And the girl all over on the kick out as the clock turns 64 minutes, and Mark Delaney kicked that out, and Portlaoise didn't get another chance to come back and equalise. Well, there were 2 points all is in it, and the Junior A Football Champions League Shopping Centre for 2020 are Park Ratheniska, and they dug it out, Fergal. I suppose well deserved in the end. They really dug out. We thought they might have ruled the chances that they missed, and they did miss some. But I suppose they just seem to have the legs and a little bit of fitness more than the Portlaoise towards the end of it. I
think that's what it was, Pat. They created the chances. They had some really good performances in Mark Delaney today. He was outstanding in my opinion. Pudgy Dunn in the middle of the field ran himself into the ground, as did his brother Brian, who was further out. The field. But Kieran, when you've the likes of Kieran Delaney on the inside line, and you've young Conley there doing so well.
Yeah, and of course, Mark G. Delaney had fantastic, but Mark Delaney, captain role, he really played it there tonight, and he was fantastic, wasn't he, Fergal?
Yeah, and Pat, the endless runs he made up the field, but he was always back there to defend as well, so. He had a really, really good game out there. Really, really good game out there tonight, Pat. And he even managed to get a shot on goal there in the second half that just came off the butt of the post. But he was also responsible for intercepting that kick out from his own goalkeeper that kept it away from Portlaoise, getting a one-on-one chance just at the end of the game there. So I think he's had an outstanding game there tonight. But everyone in Park Ratheniska will be delighted with his performance, Pat. They'll be delighted to get out of the junior ranks again and get back up the ladder in Laois.
Yeah, and look, we'll go through them there, but let's talk about Portlaoise first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aidan McGorman, Richie Downey was exemplary in fairness to him, and it's all fantastic save in the first half. A really great, solid keeper. A steady head on his shoulders. You expect nothing different from Richie in fairness, and worked really hard. Oshie Fitzpatrick put in a fierce shift as well. Aidan McGorman, as you said, was really stalwart back there. Really stuck to the guns. He had a tough task with Kieran Delaney to try and mark him and keep him out. But he did well on it.
No, he did. I thought Aidan McGovern did really well, and I suppose when you look at it, Craig Scully in the middle of the field ran himself into the ground tonight, Pat. And I suppose from Portlaoise's point of view, they'll you know, they had a bit of an unfortunate luck with Scott Laois getting injured there early in the second half. You know, he looked as if he was coming into the game. He looked as if he could make a difference, and he definitely has the ability to make the difference. And unfortunately for Portlaoise tonight, you know, he went off injured, and even when he was there after he picked up the injury, he just didn't have the same bite about him, and that was unfortunate for Portlaoise tonight. And Chris Mulhall also.
Absolutely,
But young Cathal Duggan, I think, Pat, for me, as a young player up and coming in Portlaoise, they'll be delighted to see such a young player doing so well, leading by example, leading the line from centre forward. You know, so Portlaoise, although they'll be disappointed not to win it here tonight, Pat, you know, and the opportunities were there for them during the game. Cormac Dunn as well, you know what I mean? Young players for Portlaoise, you know, stood up to the mark
and that's how Portlaoise, the town team, that's how they get their crop of players through. This is what they do. You know, fellas get to, you know, show their colours down at these levels and work their way up, and this is how Portlaoise get their senior teams out, isn't it?
I think you earn your stripes in Portlaoise, Pat, and you know, if you're not willing to play the junior final, or you're not willing to play in the intermediate championship, you'll never get the opportunity to play on their senior team, you know. But when we look at Park Ratheniska tonight, Pat, like, they had great performers all over the field, didn't they? Really, you know, right through from Mark Delaney, Richie Hitchcock, and Sean Tierney, both exemplary on the wing backs. Podgy Dunn in the middle of the field. Kieran Delaney, you know, super game. Mark G. Delaney, super game, and young Connolly as well, and DJ Connell before he went off, and also Brian Dunn. Like, we're talking about forwards here. You don't also get all. You don't always get so many forwards do so well on the night. Do you know what I mean? And to win any game, you need all your forwards, you know, either doing well defensively or doing well, you know, in attack. And they did both tonight for Park.
It's great also to see Jimmy Langton is out there. He got injured early on a workplace injury. He'd have been just dying to get going there. You know what I mean? Another stalwart for this club all down through the years. And we'll just stick with it, and we'll watch the presentation, and hopefully we might get one of the players, the captain or something, up here shortly. So we'll just watch the presentation.
Yeah.
Before we start, I just want to, the man of the match, which is being selected by our niche TV, grew up there, and without further ado, just presenting to Mark Gray. Definitely not begrudge Park Ratheniska this picture here tonight. You know, it's coming a good while, lads, and well done. And without further ado, I just want to compliment you on the performance there. I wish you the very best going forward in the season. And I suppose your captain who's been there a long time, doing well. And you know, they passed the cup over now. They have the wee shots there to the winning captain of Park Ratheniska, to Mark Gray. easy pickings. But we know how hard it is to win. We wouldn't do it without support. We wouldn't do it without the great behind us. We'll give us everything we ask for. All the backbone team, our new team that came in last year, Kieran Kenny, a lot of being but Kieran, he pushed us on to their step. He gave us the belief in what we were lacking there the last few years. We had the players, we had the fitness, we weren't showing the whole company into the open park. We're no longer doing it alone. We're going one way and that's all. So this is the start of our story. The great backroom team is here. Brendan Millay, Joe Blunt here. Joe Blunt, sometimes we give up. But we know your hearts are ready for this. You're there, you're going to be out there. This is especially new to us. We've had a few hard weeks there, but you never say you're there to know. You're there, you're taking the day, you have your own problems going on. To us, this is for you. Pat Brandon said, here's Pat Brandon, he's no sort of bird. Attention to detail, making sure we're not over our home, and push us there, give us a few words first in their day well. So well done, Pat Brandon. And one man I have to mention, they don't like singing as they go, but this man deserves big mention. He's been with us for as long as I can remember. I haven't had too many occasions to go to mention him, but he was always there, always with words of encouragement. And he was there anytime anyone was running off. He couldn't be made to do this today, but he sent us a lovely message last week. Brilliant words of encouragement. And I'm sure he's listening in, or he's following up the Twitter. And I know he's delighted there for himself, and he's singing this song and he's over that. So well done, Nick Paul.
As we listen to Mark Delaney, the captain, we just give him one more minute. He's we switch to the other Mark Delaney, Mark G Delaney. They put the G in obviously to tell the difference. But Mark, you deserve man in the match tonight. Fantastic, really congratulations to you and Park Ratheniska. But just tell us, he worked so hard for this. What does this mean to you?
This means everything to us. We've been years and years trying to get this now. And like the work rate that's gone in, over the lockdowns, the 2 lockdowns, lads out running on their own, doing their own training, like from 1 to 30 on the panel, every single person putting a huge effort. And it showed there today in that, we just had that extra little bit just to keep going and hold out to the very end. That's down to individuals and the massive work they put in, and I can't praise them enough for it.
And Portlaoise gave you a tough run of it. You were behind all of the first half. There was was there a breeze out there? We looked like there was here. Fergal was saying there was a breeze here.
Yeah.
You were probably happy going in at half time. You were still within touching distance of them.
Yeah. We just about kept it in touching distance of them up to half time. There was a strong breeze, and again, massive work rate and huge effort from the lads to stay within touching distance. It wasn't easy. Portlaoise are a great team, and it was great just to be able to keep them and then pip them at the end in the second half.
So tell us, what is Kieran Kelly, what magic has Kieran brought to it? And Tomas Moore, a couple of belly linemen in there, even though Tomas is now a Park Ratheniska man through and through.
Yeah,
and Brendan Delaney, of course. Look, we can't speak highly enough of them.
Yeah.
You had a huge crew behind you, and Pat Brennan.
Yeah, the management side of things, you couldn't ask for a better team. A huge amount of work behind the scenes. Like I wouldn't even say I know half of what they did, and I know that they did an awful lot. So geez, we can't. And then just, I suppose, to single out Kieran Kelly, he brought a good style of football, pushed us to work hard, train hard, and it showed there, I suppose, again in the end, and just, can't praise them enough for all the work that they've put in on and off the field first.
And I know Mark, the captain, referred to him, but there's one man missing here tonight, and he's put hands on an awful lot of you in a good way, if you know what I mean. But I know he's looking in, and he's going to be so proud of you.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's great to be able to do something like this for Mick. Mick has been with us through thick and thin, and I'd say there isn't a person who hasn't been up on the table with him, and he's always been there for us. Always, if we needed to call out after sessions or during the week, he was always there to help us through. And it's great to be able to do this for him and give him a lift in a time when he needs it now. So that's super, and hopefully we can catch up with him over the next day or two and really show our appreciation to him.
And I suppose with the lockdown, you're disappointed you can't go drinking. I suppose and you have to prepare for 2021. Well, that's probably not going to be the case. I'm probably making a hope now.
No.
Mark, it's been a pleasure watching you. I know myself and Fergal here had been a tough, tight final, but for as Fergal says, he knows he's been a quarter for a club from the country, a fantastic club like yourselves. This has meant so much to me, and go on and enjoy it, and good to see you back in the intermediate ranks where you deserve to be.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Well done, Mark. Thanks very much.
You.
Fergal, I just bring you in here just before we go. Again, we talked about all the players there, and Mark Delaney gave a fantastic speech. I don't think he left anyone out at Park Ratheniska, but again, it's that community unit that has stood to them. But the fitness stood to them. You have to say, they had the legs in the end of it, to be fair to them.
Yeah, I think, Pat, there's no doubt that a huge effort has gone in Park Ratheniska this year. They were really focused on winning this championship and getting back up to intermediate level. You look to the top all the time. You look to the leader, and the leader of the management team is Kieran Kelly, and he's a difference in there. Done a great job. Absolutely, as Mark alluded to there, their style of football changed slightly as well. Kieran likes to play football. Do you know what I mean? You could say, you have to mix the defensive with the attack, and he did that really well tonight. When they needed to defend, they defended well. When they needed to attack, they attacked at pace. And they got the scores when they were needed. But they're a good side, Pat. They have some good players there. They're deservedly junior champions, and when they come up to the intermediate ranks, they won't be out of place there either, which is a really good sign as well. And fair play to Park Ratheniska tonight. It's great to see a rural club coming through and winning. Of course, there's an affinity there with any rural club, but commiserations to Portlaoise too. They didn't come here to lose the final.
Not at all, no.
And unfortunately tonight they were on the wrong side of the scoreboard. They were on the wrong side of some refereeing decisions as well, Pat, which was unfortunate for them. But they're the things that happen in games, and decisions are made by referees in split seconds, Pat. Do you know what I mean? And we all know that. So they'll be disappointed tonight to be licking their wounds. But I saw many Portlaoise players coming up and congratulating Park Ratheniska, and they won't feel aggrieved or anything by it. They'll be happy for Park Ratheniska tonight. They won it on merit. They created the chances. They took their chances when they were there, and fair play to Park and everyone involved down there.
So again, well done to commiserations to Portlaoise. Well done to Park Ratheniska, Laois Shopping Centre Junior A Champions for 2020. The sun is coming down here in MWI or Moore Park, but we can only predict that Ratheniska, the fun is only starting for them. So from us here, myself and Fergal, thanks again for looking in. Hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed the game, and congratulations again to Park Ratheniska, and see you again soon. Well done, Matt. Well done. Thanks.
Hey, as always.
Thanks.